Mics, please.
But Guy, Mr. Whitmore, you started at the best part.
Well, you get the idea. Here we have the classic example of the Hollywood monster. The movie studios turned out films like these by the hundreds back in the 50s and early 60s. Werewolves, vampires, monsters created by atomic radiation, creatures from outer space. They all did their part to paralyze the kids at the Saturday matinee and to give the girl an excuse to move as close as possible to the boy at the drive-in theater. Now, these horror films of the 50s seem corny today, just as unbelievable as the ancient sea monsters we've been studying. But don't get the idea that monsters are a thing of the past. All of you have seen recent films about the devil and demon possession. Even the film about the great white shark was a monster story of sorts, a modern-day sea monster. These films managed to give all of us a few genuine moments of fear. Yes, man has always had his monsters. Very real. And sometimes most unexplainable. Well, class, today we're concluding this study of the supernatural, of powers and beings outside the reality of nature. So I've invited a guest speaker who should be arriving in a few minutes. This man is a science teacher, as well as a widely read author and a recognized authority on the phenomenon of the abominable snowman, or as this creature is known in North America, Bigfoot.
Expect us to believe all of this?
Thomas, Shakespeare once said through Hamlet, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy." Class, one of the biggest errors a man might make is to disbelieve what he hasn't seen. To think that there are not evil powers or fantastic creatures just because you personally haven't experienced them could result sometime in a dreadful consequence. Now, save any questions you might have until Mr. Mason arrives. He once had an incredible first-hand experience with Bigfoot, and I want him to tell you the story himself. Well, while we're waiting, let's review, see if you remember the names of some of these ancient sea monsters. Anne, can you tell me about this fellow?
Let's see. That's one of the dragons from the 16th century, I think. He was a flesh eater and supposedly grew to a length of about 30 feet or more.
Good. Now, who can tell me about this fellow?
That's a griffin. It's a flying bird monster. Back legs of a wolf, front legs of a hawk, like claws, and it would swoop down to catch its victim, usually young kids, and it would just tear them apart. And it would just eat everything except their shoes. When the griffin got you, all they'd ever find is your shoes.
All right, Daddy. That may be true. But what I want you to tell us is just where and when did the legendary griffin get its start? Andy.
He was invented in the 1400s by the Germans.
Really? I wonder, young man, if the ancient griffin was really invented, as you say, by some demented madman.
Roger, thank you for coming today.
I wonder if I should have come.
I want to introduce to you a man who has spent much of his life as a teacher and as a highly respected scholar. He's written several books on the subject of Bigfoot, and his actual story, experience, incredible experience, with the giant man-beast of America is an amazing story he so kindly agreed to tell us about today.
I believe I owe all of you an apology, especially you, young man. Your teacher has been very kind in introducing me as a scholar. I'm thought by many people to be nothing more than a madman, or a liar, if you will. "15 years ago, in a high school much like this one, I was teaching science to a group of students not unlike yourselves. 5 of those students, 3 boys and 2 girls, were especially fascinated with the study of archaeology. So I arranged a field trip. As a result of that field trip, 3 of those students will spend the rest of their lives in a mental institution. One girl cannot speak to this day. She can only stare straight ahead in shock. She's totally unable to communicate with the world outside her mind. No. Never doubt that monsters exist. They do. Right here in North America today, there are creatures that are known simply as Bigfoot. They were known to the Indian over 100 years ago, and they're still alive today. But let me start at the beginning of my story.